Here we go. Yeah, just a little bit. Here we go. Okay, so yeah. This one is not me doing commentary. This is literally me just figuring my life out for a second. I want to do this vlogging page and I want to do it right. I also want to do reactions and I want to do so much and my brain just goes scattered everywhere. So it's like I know what I want to do and I know what I want to convey, but I so badly wish I had like someone who could really like help me, like a partner or somebody who can like really help me and like do the edits and have the creative drive. Like I have creative drive, but like we can put our thoughts together. Anyways, yeah, so I am doing a interview tomorrow with a student who's about to graduate from Milwaukee Area Technical College. She'll be interviewing me for like her final project. I think that's so cool because I remember having a final project and having to interview people, and yeah, she's in the television and e-production program. It was called the e-production program, but now it's called, I think, entertainment or internet, social media, digital entertainment program or something. It's called something like that. But I am kind of nervous. At first I was like, oh no, I'm not. I'm kind of nervous a little bit because things are coming full circle in like a weird way. Like once upon a time I was interviewing people, trying to finish stuff, trying to get my projects done and now 5-6 years later, here's someone who wants to interview me. I think it's pretty cool. Being an entrepreneur and being a single mom, I'm in a relationship. That's a whole nother thing we can get into. But being a mom, a sole provider, taking care of your kids, trying to figure it out, trying not to have water drip all over you. Trying to figure it out. All while trying to pay bills. And this economy is absolutely crazy. So I got a job and I ended up not taking the job. I got a job in a law firm, answering phones, and I thought I was so excited. Like I was like, oh, I'm gonna finally have a regular job, but like the pay, the benefits, and all that. But like after fully calculating everything, I kind of got really sad because the main problem is the hours. The hours are 9 to 5:30, and I feel like that's my whole life. Like 9 to 5:30, I can't even like. For one, my kids only have 1 month left of school, so then after that, what's left? Summertime. And summertime, they have all types of activities and commitments that they really do come first. It's not optional. It's not just like, it's not all fun. It's not all recreation. Some of these things are not optional. And I don't have that huge support system. And honestly, even if I did, I know people talk about if they had this or that, even like, talking about the what ifs. But even if I did, I literally like set up my entire life around being a mom, like being a full-time mom, like making money, doing everything I want, but still be able to drop my kids off at school and pick them up. And it's something about like the fact that I would be away from them all day and all evening. And then when I get home, I'm going to be tired. I'm going to go have to pick them up because they're not going to be home. Like, well, I didn't really teeter with the thought, but it was a conversation to be like, oh, well, we can have people pick them up and drop them off at home. I do not feel comfortable. I don't leave my kids home alone. Like, none of it sounded right. Every option that would have been an option, it just was like, hell no. Like, and I kind of felt some type of way. And I also felt like 9 to 5:30 on weekdays, Monday through Friday, that's crazy. Like, at the end of the day, like, what can you get done? That's whatever isn't within normal operating hours, you're not going to be able to do anything. Like, how does that even work? So I sent an email and I was like, I'm sorry. Like, I thought I would be able to make this work, but like, it's just not going to work for me. Like, I just was like, it's just, unfortunately, it's just not going to work. I know they probably were like, damn, we wasted our time. And honestly, it wasn't like I just like, for one, I don't know what I thought I wanted. I thought I wanted a job, but when it really came down to it, like, I just can't. I've been an entrepreneur for 6 years now. I started, when I graduated from college, I got into film producing right away. And I also got into being a wedding videographer. So it was like, my time was split up. I worked for an independent film production company. So like, in a way, I was able to, like, my hours were flexible. I got to work from home. And then the weddings, that's on the weekends. So that was the only time that I had to find support. And finding support on the weekends is way easier for one day, or, you know, whatever. One day is way easier than finding support for 4 days, 5 days. So to me, it was just like, oh, this is a no-brainer. But now I don't know where I'm at with things. Like, I went through this period where I went through a whole business acquisition where I was supposed to buy a company. I never really disclosed this to anyone, but it fell through. And it didn't fall through because I couldn't do it. I did everything I was supposed to do. It fell through because it was a shady deal. And once I found out, it was disheartening. So, like, I had to take a moment off. Like, I had to take a break. I had to, like, debrief. And then once I came back from debriefing, I was like, yeah, I have to get a job. Like, I was like, yeah, no, I have to get a job. I have to figure it out. But now, like, I got hired and I'm just like, I can't get a job. Not this type of job, at least. Like, I feel like I need something flexible. I need something like hustler, like, you know, something that's just like, okay, you can make this money. You can get paid weekly. You can get paid daily. I was doing things like Walmart Spark. And I'm only saying I was doing things because I genuinely took a break from all that. But like, I can get my head back in the game with stuff like that. Like, I'm not ashamed in doing what I have to do to hustle. And I probably could book more weddings on my own. It's just, part of me just kind of was like fed up with everything that I've just, like, I just want to take a break. I feel like this is a diary, but being an entrepreneur and being a mother, one thing that I've realized through all this, because I am truly blessed, is when you prioritize what's best for your children, everything else will fall in line and the abundance of blessings will fall in line. Like, you will be blessed tenfold when you put your children first. I think a lot of people, they are scared of going out on a limb and betting on themselves when it comes to entrepreneurism, because they do have kids and they be like, oh, well, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? And I'm a spiritual person, you know, and I always believe that, like, if you believe in God or a higher power, whatever you believe in, then you will practice faith. And faith has, like, you have to be able to believe in something to say, okay, well, I'm going to trust you with that. I'm not going to worry too much about anything. Only thing I'm going to worry about is, you know, what I can control. And what I can control is what I do when I get up. I can't control being able to wake up. We don't know if we have another day. But when I get that next day, I wake up and I control how I feel, how I think, how I speak, how I act, how I move. These are all things that I can control. So I'm at a point now where I was such a big control freak. I don't want to control anything anymore. I don't want to. The only thing I want to do is fully, like, I want to have full autonomy of what I can control, which is just the embetterment of myself and my children. I don't want to be thinking like, oh, well, 6 months from now I have to be here and this. It's just too much for my brain to fathom. And every time I put my faith in God and I just said one thing, like, okay, this is what I want. This is where I want to be in 6 months. This is where I want to be in 12 months. It happened. Like, it happened, but it happened in a way that wasn't a path that I chose. And that's what I want to get back to. I don't want to keep trying to pick every little thing to think that, like, oh, I have control over this, and if I do it just like that, and if I do it just like this. No. Every time that I walked solely on faith, things happen. I've met people, I got opportunities, I made a lot of money, and a lot of things happened that I would have never guessed in my wildest dreams, all because I did not plan every single little step. All I did was set the goal and move on faith, move on discernment, and move on just betting on myself and being like, okay, I feel in my heart that what I'm doing is right. I feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and just fully trusting in that. Within the past, I want to say year now, like, I've genuinely tried to control. I saw the blessings of what happened when I just set my intentions and I moved. And what I did was I honed in on that and I thought, oh, I can control everything then. And I lost sight of the bigger picture. The bigger picture was, no, I cannot control everything. But when I moved on faith and when I set my intentions and set my goal, I was able to achieve it not by counting every step, but by taking in the journey and enjoying things as they come and being grateful and walking with that faith. So if you are a parent out there and you have a lot going on and you have an idea and you have something you're like, I want to do this, but I'm afraid to, fall. I'm afraid to fall. You want to be realistic, but you also want to be wildly unrealistic, meaning you want to be able to, like, have your highest dreams, your best thoughts and all this, and don't allow anyone to drag you down. Bills, everyone has them. Debt, everyone has debt. If you don't have debt, guess what? You had debt and you got yourself out of it. Or you're a child who doesn't have debt because you've never had a house, you've never had a place, you've never had a car, you've never had nothing that would amount to debt. You've never had credit cards. If you are someone who has carried debt, great, and you have never stumbled, that's good. That's good. You know what I'm saying? Good for you. I'm not talking to those people. I'm talking to people who have obstacles and they're like, how do I get over this hurdle? How do I figure this out? How do I figure that out? Well, my credit's not that good. When I started as an entrepreneur, my credit was not good. I've had moments in my life where my credit was low, and I took the time to go through my credit files, and I took the time to clean up my credit. And between 3 to 6 months, literally every time, it was 3 to 6 months, I was able to bring my credit score up by 100 to 200 points, depending on where I was at. It's all about setting intentions. Within that time, I never I've only had a couple times where I made a lot of money where I could just pay off debts in full. But I would always plan my money, and I would look at my debt and be like, okay, how can I make small changes to pay this off, or to do this, or to get this off my credit? Everything starts with a question, and learning how to negotiate, and learning how to work the system, because it's not just you, it's millions of people who deal with this. Every obstacle that you are going through, you can overcome. You just have to come up with creative solutions. Period. I am just truly blessed that I'm able to do what I'm doing. I'm even blessed that I'm able to drop this on this YouTube page, because I was at this point where I genuinely didn't know what I want to do. And I said, you know what? I love reaction videos. I love, talking and all that. And if there's even one person out there who listens to this, or watches me, or sees my content on social media, and I inspire them to go do something, to go chase their dreams, it was worth it. It was worth it. And that's how I feel. So being an entrepreneur and being a parent is not for the weak. But if you can treat your life like a business, and run your life like a business, and operate with structure within your household, and put your kids first, that's probably the biggest thing I could stress to anyone who's a parent and wants to be an entrepreneur. Putting your kids first. I don't mean materialistic. I don't mean just not having structure and your kids are doing everything and you don't have time to work. What I'm saying is putting your kids first, meaning setting your intentions, having the right intentions about how you raise your children. Whatever your reasons are, your personal reasons. Things that I've always promised myself that I would make sure that I do with my kids, I've stuck to. For example, picking my kids up from school, dropping my kids off to school in the morning, that has always been something I told myself I will always do. Once I set that for myself, I quickly realized that there was really no job that could accommodate that. The only time that jobs could accommodate that is when my kids were younger and they were in daycare. And I worked a serving job, or again, when my kids were younger and I could go to work at 4 o'clock and get off at 10 or 11 because I have a babysitter and they don't have homework. They don't have all these other things. They just need to eat. They just need to be able to play. Stuff of that sort, right? But as your kids get older and you set these intentions for them and say, I want them to go to better schools. I want them to live in a community where they can play outside and I don't have to worry about violence or anything off the wall. And saying, I want to be able to have a structured life for my children where my children are feel comfortable to talk to me, and I'm available and I'm open and I am emotionally available, because working a job takes a toll on not only your physical energy but your emotional energy. And if you have to go to work and deal with strangers and deal with people who you don't know what their intentions are with you, then you have to come home and you only have a sliver of time to deal with your children. That's not fair. And that's just me, and that's just how I personally looked at it. But again, don't be afraid to take that leap of faith and go out on a limb and say, you know what? I'm going to make this work. and I'm going to follow my dreams, and to hell what anyone says, and I'm going to figure it out. I genuinely believe that I've been blessed, how I've been blessed and able to like be an entrepreneur and work how I want to work and do what I want to do. It's not always easy. It's not always easy. I used to have times where I would drive for freaking 10 hours a day doing Walmart deliveries. I've had that. I drove in snowstorms. I've done that. I've drove in storms. I've driven right after it snowed all night, and then I go out and drive with my kids. When my kids were younger, I would go and I would drive with them, and I would go pick up a pizza on, like, it'd be like the weekend, and I'd go and pick up a pizza, and they would be eating the pizza in the car as I drove. And then they would get tired and they'd be like, oh, they'd start being fussy. I'd stop. I give them a break. Then we do it again. Because if I had to work, if I had something to do, then I had to do it. And that's literally, I've gone months doing that before. It's all about how bad do you want it? Do you really want to trade your time, which is your real universal currency, not money? Let's get that straight. Money does buy happiness and comfort and financial freedom. But there is a universal hack to making money and to getting and to be able to support yourself and your family. There's a hack. But you can only hack that code of the universe if you are spiritually open to it. If you are open to that realm of being like, you know what? I'm going to make it happen no matter what. And I don't care what anyone says, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I've been in so much debt before. I'm currently in debt. And I will say for sure, I know that within 6 months I will not be in debt. I know that. I don't, and guess what? I am exhausted with trying to figure out how. But I know that. When I drop Let Me Be, before I drop Let Me Be, before I ever made Let Me Be, before Let Me Be was even a script or a thought, I had another thought in my head about another movie idea. And I would journal and I would write, I will be an executive producer in 12 months. And I wrote this. I would write this while sitting in the car waiting for Walmart orders. This was like Black Friday, literally, because it was the beginning of November, like Black Friday sales starting, stuff like that. You know, these stores start all their sales early. And I'd be sitting there and I'd be writing. Then I'd go do deliveries, and I was in debt. I was trying to get out of low income. It was so many things going on in my life. I just remember thinking, I just gave up on traditional thinking. I just was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to be executive producer in 12 months. I'm in a car that I'm always having suspension problems. I'm in a 2009 Hyundai Sonata. I'm in a car that I literally have to get fixed every other month because whoever had it before me had off-market rims on it. It was always something. But can you believe that 12 months after I wrote that, exactly 12 months to the day, we were shooting Let Me Be. And it took me, I didn't even realize it until after we got done shooting. And I was going through stuff in my, like at my computer desk and just kind of cleaning out stuff. And I found that notebook and I was going through the note. Something told me to go through the notebook, and I was going through the notebook and I opened up that specific page, and it was dated for November 6th, 2022. And we shot, the first day that we shot Let Me Be was November 6th, 2023. It was the first day. So I'm saying that to say, when you figure out your niche of what makes you believe. I've always been a writer. I had a journal since I was 7. When you figure out your niche of like what makes you feel like you can do it, aka what makes you feel like a kid again, what makes you feel like, you know what, when I was a kid I had a big imagination, and writing was a part of that imagination. So I never really connected the dots that for me, writing helped bring me back to my authentic self. So what brings you back to your authentic self? That's the real question. And that's your tool to bring in abundance, to bring in blessings. Of course, whatever you believe in, I believe in God. God walked me through these things. He helped keep me disciplined, because being an entrepreneur, discipline is everything. Everything. If you are able to get to somebody's establishment on time, clock in, you're ready, you're dressed, you're like, I'm ready to go. Please explain to me why you can't do that for yourself. You know when Carisha said, I don't work jobs, I am a job? Listen, you need to take that and embody that. Because being a job means you show up for yourself on time and ready every day. And guess what? On your off days, you have off days. And that's what I'm realizing too. Not every day is a let's kick up the shit, let's burn energy day. Some days is an off day, and you deserve that when you're really working, when you're really doing what you're supposed to do as an entrepreneur and handling business and whatever that is. So